He looks clean. He looks
going on.
fast when you're clean shaven, don't you?
He does.
Actually, that was one of Coach Charlie Wade's mantras at the beginning of the season. You know what? We're going to look professional. Absolutely. You know, no long sideburns and another little dump shot and the intelligence of James Shaw. And we talked about him last night, only a freshman, but plays so well.
I love the way how he holds this set as if he's going to set along, and then at the last second, he drops that right hand down. Very deceptive, mature move. This kid's played a lot of international volleyball. And he's played a lot of volleyball since he was a child. Probably been in the gym since he was 1. Father, Don, 23 years at Stanford. Had 4 national championships with the women and then 7 seasons with the men.
Not a bad place to enjoy a career. Of course, Hawaii's not that bad either. Nice pass by Sakida. Marks digs it up, the overpass, and that is in. Point for Stanford, and they're starting to run away with this first game. Now at 20-15.
Irvin took that ball way off the net. It was probably the 4 or 5 foot line. A little bit sketchy there, kind of taking a chance because the block could have really formed easily on him, but the block never got organized and he was able to put it down.
And there's the look on the left there. There's Irvin's father that you were talking about.
Chris Irvin went to UCLA, a great player there.
I'm sitting next to George Seghetti, who's the head of the Hawaii Hoteliers Association.
Boy, they're having a good year too, aren't they, the hoteliers? Wow.
And the prognosticators say that 2013, knock on wood, barring any unforeseen issues, should be better. And another block. And coming up and getting that one is Caneller, and Hawaii now finds themselves on the bottom end of Stanford's biggest lead of this first game at 6. And a timeout signaled by Charlie Wade. Kind of reminiscent to that 4-set last night where Hawaii really started to run away with it. Coach Costi of Stanford took his starters out. We talked about the fact that not only did his second stringers come in there and play, they played well, and in fact so well, they narrowed a double-digit gap back to within 3. Forced Charlie Wade to call a timeout. Well, while we got a break, opportunity to bring you our Jack in the Box Jack Fact tonight. Jack Facts adores success as a starter. Now, we talked about this, first 7 matches, coming off the bench. You can see averaging less than a kill per set. And then look at the numbers in the last 3 starts, 3.5+ kills per set. And everything has just started to come alive for this young man now that he's developed an opportunity to get a rhythm, and we can look at some of the early highlights by Brooks Sador tonight.
Sador's got 3 kills so far. Got a couple of errors, though, to go along with that. And he's got a service error as well. But those numbers we just saw on the Jack Fact were really revealing in that he's had a lot more opportunities to get into a rhythm when he's playing as a starter. When he's playing as a sub, he's only serving about every half hour, and that's a difficult thing to do. And he was averaging, half the number of aces that he's got now, and so he's just been a real force. So much so that Charlie Wade has been considering starting him in the serving position, so he gets maybe even a 4th chance to serve in a set.
He's made the best of his opportunity, and he right now, you have to think, is pretty firmly entrenched in that starting lineup for Hawaii.
There's not a great offensive show there, Howard. 143 and 036. Not good numbers. Hitting 327 on the year. Hawaii hitting around 250, I believe.
What did you say? Hawaii hit only 219. And you had said they had to hit a little bit, just a little bit better. And in fact, they're down in this first set. So another kill on an overpass, and that's going to come right in our direction.
Give the credit to Stephen Irvin for the solid pass. You see right away, you see Mahalski point to Irvin, giving him all the credit. What Mahalski did was easy, just sort of tap it down and get the kill. What was tough was putting up a serve that forces a good passing team in Hawaii to overpass it.
And now Jace Olsen into the lineup. They go right at him, and he puts up a good pass. Set goes to Siki, and unable to dig that one up is Delgado. Point, Hawaii.
Here comes super server. Johan Timmer.
Sophomore out of Auckland, New Zealand.
No, he was sick early in the week. I did not know that, but he's obviously did not affect him last night.
That went into the net.
That's the first time I've seen him miss a serve in a long time. He's been 100% for about 3 weeks when he comes in to serve, and he serves with heat. It's Hawaii's 6th service error. That's way too many in one set.
And they trail by 7. And right back the other way, Mahalski with a service error of his own.
Mahalski leads his team in service aces, but he also leads them in service errors.
And there you see the numbers on Sador. And I think if we were to look at those numbers again over the past 3 games, it'd be a little bit more favorable. Good serve, trying to chase it over there, and a nice job by Canelo to keep that one alive, and trying to be a little too cutesy, perhaps. Stephen Irvin just tried to like baby it right over the edge of the net, but caught a little bit too much cable.
You know, had he gotten it over, it might have dropped, because Hawaii was really in a deep retreat position. It might have dropped had it not caught the cable.
And a good serve by Sador really set up the way that whole point developed. Let's see if he goes right back to the same spot on the court. There he goes right at Sakahita. And the block by Hawaii, Siki Sakovic. Well, now let's kind of analyze this situation, because perhaps it's too late for Hawaii to come back and win this game. But they are kind of doing what Stanford did in that game 4 by forcing a timeout by the opposing coach. And even if they lose this game, it puts them in that position, Chris, where perhaps Hawaii is developing a little bit of momentum going into that second set.
Exactly, and that's a huge block. Good point, Howard. And it's a huge block by Siki there against Brian Cook, who has been Stanford's go-to guy all year long. Sarkovic, a one-on-one winner right there.
And look at that. That is his first solo block of this 2013 campaign.
Serbia played 84 international matches for Serbia. Actually won the World Championship a couple of years ago. Said that was his greatest athletic thrill, was winning the World Championship for Serbia. It's Ken Shibuya now getting the attention of the Stanford players. Ken Shibuya, John Costi's #1 assistant. He does most of the scouting reports. He also does the data volley system. He does a lot of the recruiting, the scouting. Kind of a jack of all trades. And there you see Daniel Rasai, who played for UH. He's the 2nd assistant.
And let's take a look at our Mid-Pac Petroleum leaderboard, talking about kills. And the kill leaders in the conference so far this season. There's Brian Cook. Kind of interesting. You would expect to see Stephen Irvin in there, but of course last night was the kind of night that doesn't happen too often, and no Hawaii Warriors in that top 5. Maurice Torres of Pepperdine, we saw him of course last week, and he kind of struggled a little bit against Hawaii.
The kill leaders tend to be the guys who get a lot of sets. Not necessarily, you know, the best players on every team, but they tend to get a lot of sets.
And so Sador back to serve it up, and Hawaii within 4. Now, don't ever count out a team. Odds don't favor it, certainly. And there's another long hit, and Hawaii is in with 3. And Hawaii with 4 consecutive points.
Well, that's what Brooks Sador and Siki and JP Marks can do. When they get back there, they're just lethal, and they can run off flurries of points.
Another good serve. Overpass, and that is out. Siki had the golden opportunity to put that one down for Hawaii.
What a difference would have been, 23-21 versus 24-20. Huge swing. Normally he's very accurate. This time he sees the blocker up there, James Shaw. What he should have done, since Shaw was a back row attacker, back row player, he should have hit it right at Shaw.
And Shaw actually just kind of ducked that one off Jace Olsen and out for the service ace, and that's how this first set ends, 25-20. So the two teams will switch sides, and we will be back with set number 2. You're watching University of Hawaii Men's Volleyball on OC Sports.
Find the perfect gift for every occasion at Big Island Candies. Visit them at their flagship in Hilo at Ala Moana Center or click on BigIslandCandies.com to view their entire collection and place your order today.
Yeah, a lot of happy faces, folks smiling in the stands. Beautiful Saturday. Of course, tomorrow, Super Sunday. Who you got, Chris? You spent a lot of time in Northern California, so I got to figure you're a 49ers guy.
Yeah, I guess. But, I'm also a big fan of John Harbaugh. I like him a lot. So I'm kind of split on it. I'm not going to go out on a limb on this one.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what.
If you were to force me to pick somebody, I like the Niners.
Okay. I know one thing you can talk about is how it works. Presented by Central Pacific Bank. We found a play you like it.
Well, Stanford runs a little, what they call a crossing pattern. You see the middle attacker, Spencer Haley, goes in, gets both blockers to jump with him, and Irvin comes in an X pattern behind the center and behind Haley, and he's got no blocker up at all. It's called an X. The X, but that was actually, they named them X1, X2, X3, X4. X1 and 2 are in front of the setter, and X3 and 4 are behind, and that time that was like an X1, and it was a nice little play. Don't see it run very often. This day and age, men's volleyball, they do not run that X pattern very often, so I'm glad we got to show it tonight, because it's when they do run it, it usually catches the other team by surprise and they get a point.
Yeah. All right, set to go. Stephen Irvin, father sitting right over his left shoulder.
Not much of an offensive night, though. Stanford hitting 0-4-0 and Hawaii hitting 0-3-3. That's not very good.
That's not how it works. There's a good swing. Brooks Sador doing a little headhunting on on James Shaw.
Sador picks up kill number 4. He's leading all attackers on the floor right now is Sador. That ball arrived in a hurry. Shaw was in the right spot and just could not get his arms there.
Brooks Sador showing a little talent. Towel wipers were out. He had a little seat on the bench, spinning the ball. And it gets nice and quiet here inside the Stanley. Sador, that serve just in on the back line for the service ace.
Sador has such a great rhythm. He takes a deep breath. It's a nice toss. He has a good run up, a little 4-step run up. And that ball was well in. Irvin tried to call it out and convince the linesman to call it out, but no, it was well in.
I tell you, to be a linesman in men's collegiate volleyball is not easy. The ball is just traveling so fast. A nice little touch right there by Mohalski. Didn't have to hit it hard. Saw that on the floor and put it right down there.
You're right. Those serves are clocked between. That serve was probably, I would say, 55 to 65, something like that. It's traveling pretty fast. If it was a car, he'd be getting a ticket in the freeway. Let's put it that way. Mohalski, a little dump down shot.
Back set, Sador. Irvin puts it up. Mohalski keeps it alive, and then Shaw pops it over. Siki tried a little soft touch. And Shaw keeps it alive. Cook off the high hand, allowing opportunity for Hawaii. Siki again, and it's blocked. Heading over toward the bench, and JP. So that's about as far as I'm going to go. Not willing to risk life and limb for that one.
Hawaii had their chances during that rally, just could not convert. Stanford playing some pretty good defense, and Cook, you see Cook pressing that ball back into the court again. He's just a solid right side blocker. One of the better ones we've seen this year.
Even at 2-2 here in set number 2. Stanford taking the first set if you're just dialing on by on this Saturday night. Aloha to you from wherever you happen to be watching in. That ball, I believe, off the cable or into the net, and that's another point for Stanford. A natural point. They lead at 3-2.
That's set a little low for Sador. He had to really go get his track shoes on and sprint after that one.